Peace, greetings, love and light to you all, family. Welcome to another YouTube video with me, your host, Mathix. We back at it again. We're back with another YouTube video. Now, today's topic is gonna be very interesting. It's gonna be very deep. We're gonna dive deep today, and we're gonna break barriers. We're gonna question. We're gonna go deep into the questions. We're gonna go deep into those things, into that type of subject that people are afraid to talk about, but deep inside, we all have these type of questions. So today we're going to be talking about Lucifer, Jesus, Satan, and God. Yeah, that's the subject at hand today. Talking about God, Satan, Lucifer, and Jesus. And we're gonna clarify in terms of what are these? Are these different beings? Are they different individuals? Are they same forces? Are they one and the same? So we're gonna answer that, and we're also gonna talk about how to overcome the power and the influence of Satan. So that's what we're gonna talk about today, and how to become more and more in a communication, or more and more into understanding Godhood, or into understanding God, and and being able to participate and to communicate with that particular being or force. So now let's get into it. So the first thing that you're gonna have to do is question this. Is okay, they say that God is omnipresent, right? And is omnipotent and is omnipotent. So being omnipresent means that you are in all places at the same time. That means that there's nothing that can be outside of you. Nothing can come outside of you. Nothing can influence anything, because you are everything. You are the omnipotent, omniscient being, the omnipresent one. So that's what it means. So now immediately that brings you to question certain books when they speak about, let's say, for the fact that, like, now Adam and Eve in the garden disobeyed God. Now already that brings a contradiction, because if God is omnipresent, then that would mean that God would have had to know that, okay, these two are going to disobey me. And there's a verse that speaks about how now after Adam and Eve ate the apple, they hid from God, and God was walking in the garden saying, Adam, Adam, where are you? And then Adam was like, oh, I'm here, God, I'm hiding because I did this. You see, so already that now brings the thing of questioning God's omnipotence. And also now, if God is this omnipotent, omnipresent being, most of us have had this question: why doesn't God just kill Satan? Why doesn't God just wipe away Satan? Why doesn't God destroy the devil? And then everything will be fine. We'll be in a paradise and we'll all be happy. The fact that now it's made to seem like Satan is this adversary, is this challenger to God, and God is there stressing like, Satan, like Joker versus Batman, or whoever, or whatever force is, challenging, let's say, any superhero movie that you would watch. The hero always has a villain, and now it's made to seem as though the greatest villain of all villains is Satan, and him or it and God are these mortal, are these enemies shown to the greatest battle of all time, and were led to believe that this is happening and that this has been happening. Now this is where the church came in. This is all due to the church, the Roman Catholic, and all these different divinations of like churches. It's all under one umbrella, and all of that, it was done so that now people could be easily manipulated. This is all for spiritual manipulation. Because now, if you want to understand who God is, what Satan is, who Lucifer is, and who Jesus is, you're going to have to first of all understand the first law of the universe, which is mentalism, which means that now all is mind and everything in the universe is mental. This is the law of mentalism that you find under the laws, or the seven hermetic laws of Hermes Trismegistus, right? Otherwise, who you may know of as Thoth or Tehuti. So that first law says all is mind and everything in the universe is mental, which means that everything that we see from an atom to the most smallest subatomic particles to a whole neutron star, so from the macro to the micro, all is a mental projection, or all has its existence in the mind of one supreme being. So immediately that takes away now the fact that there's an outside to God. It takes away the whole thing of, oh no, God has a challenger. And that brings me to say this now: God and Satan are two sides of the same coin. In fact, Satan is God and God is Satan in two different aspects, in two different poles. It's a yin and a yang. Woo! Now we're gonna get into it. Now Mathix, now you've done it. What? God is Satan. Satan is God. What? How? What? If you read, there's in the book of Isaiah, there's a part where God says, I create the light and the darkness. I give life and I destroy. I, the Lord, do this. And that is true. We're going to have to look at the origin of who or what Satan is. Now, God in the church is presented as this being of light and love and all of that. And yay, God, we love you, we worship you. But that's not all God is. God has poles to itself. And when we speak about God, they are gods. And there is the supreme being. That supreme being, in most conversations, you do not even bring it up because it's the all that is. They simply just call it the Most High. But that Most High has levels to itself. They are beings or Elohim or gods that represent those different aspects. So we could say that God would be like the electricity, right? And then gods would be the different appliances that the electricity channels itself through. So God is the electricity and we are the vessels. So we are the laptops, the cell phones, the microwaves. We channel different forms of the electricity. But that electricity it's neither good nor bad. It could charge your phone, or if you touch it wrong, it could kill your ass. You see, that's the same thing. It's a force, it's a power. And what you do with it is where now we come into the whole spectrum. So the ancient people never had a physical Satan. They never spoke of Satan as an actual being. What was called or what was known as Satan was a force or an aspect of being which represented the dark side. Satan represents the dark side or the shadow side, the deepest part of your subconscious mind, the deepest part of your being was known as a mentor. That was called a mentor. And that world is ruled by Set. Set is the one that represents the darkness. Set is the being in the ancient Egyptian story that fought or that killed his brother Osiris, and now who had to be avenged by his son, who was Horus. Now all of these represent different states, and all of these states are you. It's one being playing out different roles of itself. It's a yin yang. So God would be the light side of the supreme, and then Satan would be the dark side of the supreme being. And so now it's one being contented or in a different relationship with itself, and we get to experience both sides of it, especially as humans, because we have the logic and the intellect to question and to reason. So they never spoke of Satan as an actual physical being that's there scheming to plot to kill you, or to take away your job, or to give you AIDS. No, that was never the deal. Set was the god of the underworld, the darkness, the dark side, the ruler of the dark side. When you say the sun is setting, you are talking about the whole primordial story of the fall of man. the fall of man into the material world, or into the dark side, into the body, into the vessel, the descending into hell, the descending into the shell, the descending into the corporeal body, the descending into material fleshly life existence, which now immediately when a soul does that, what happens is that through the law of alchemical exchange, or the law of equivalent exchange, you give up certain things about yourself. So in order for you to become physical, you had to give up the spiritual. And in order for you to now become spiritual again, you have to give up the physical. This is the law of equivalent exchange. This is where Lucifer and Jesus come in, because they are two sides of the same thing. We're going to get into this now. I'm going to talk like this, but I'm going to wrap it up nicely for you and package it so you can sit with it. Lucifer and Jesus are two sides of the same pole, just as God, Satan are two sides of the same pole. Lucifer is called what? Is called the light bearer, or the light bringer, right? So now, how is it that an omnipresent, omnipotent God got deceived by one of the most amazing angels? One and the same. Lucifer is an aspect of God. And in fact, if you want to think of them as physical beings, Lucifer is that aspect of God that was like that brought about the first rebellion. He was that being that said, nah, bro. Nah, man, like I'm not gonna chill here in these streets of gold. It's all perfect and there's another side to existence that we need to experience. There's another pole. There's another side. And so that's who he was. When they speak about Lucifer and the fallen angels, they're talking about you. Lucifer is the third eye. It's the pineal gland. It's the chakra systems. You are the light bearer. You are the light bringer. In you is a cosmic spark of light that left the pleroma, or the higher planes, the pristine plains. That's where you always get these stories of a prodigal son born in this beautiful place, and then he leaves for whatever reason that he leaves, and then he goes to the wilderness and he experienced all of this suffering, and then he comes back. But when he comes back with a certain level of wisdom and knowledge, because he gained that through experience. So now there were certain things that in heaven you knew conceptually, but you could not be of a vibration in close proximity with what God, or with what the light that God was emanating really is, until you went and experienced the opposite of that. So you would not know that you are in the Garden of Eden, because it's all you knew. So until you left the garden and to experience something totally opposite from that, when you return to the garden, now the garden becomes a place it becomes a place that you value with you have reverence for it, because you know that, damn, I experienced a totally different side to this. So the fall of the angels was the fall of the angles of light. So Lucifer is the light bearer. They say he fell with some 200 and something angels. Those are angles of light, also being your bones. The densest part of your skeleton, or the densest part of who you are, is your bones. Your bones are angles of light. Your bones are celestial antennas that connect you to the celestial. So they are like lightning rods that connect you to the celestial cosmic consciousness, and they also connect you to the earth, because they are the last thing to go when someone dies. The thing that they find many years after that are the bones. Those are angles of light. So the fall was divine. The fall was gonna happen. And Lucifer was that aspect that had to usher in that fall. So Lucifer saved you from perfection. Lucifer saved you from God. And you fell into the material world to experience certain things. And this falling was gradual. So you fell into the darkness, into soot, or you became soot, you became Set, you became the fallen one, the sun set. The light went beneath the horizon. The word Horus, which is the word hero, which is the deity of light and consciousness. Horus, when they say that The sun is the sun, the sun is also personification of the son. So the sun and the son are the same. So when they say the sun is setting, that's symbolic of you going into the underworld to conquer death. When they say that Jesus, the last thing that he will conquer is death. Death is the gradual decline of your true essence, of your true self, and you forget that. And you come into this world and we play these roles and we become human and we have all these things. But there is another side to us that we fell from, that we temporarily left behind so that we could experience the tree of good and evil. Because we only knew one thing. We were in the garden. It was perfect. It was all great. And then we left. And then we became those beings. We became the Titans, which also now gets into the word where now Satan. The word Satan, as I'm saying, there was an ancient Egyptian deity known as Set. He who is the ruler of the dark side of the underworld. When the Europeans and certain different people began to conquer the African continent, obviously they came into all these books, and the victors of war are the ones who get to rewrite the history, So remember that there were dynasties that went back thousands of years where this knowledge was known and it was a daily thing. But as all things mature and decline, so too did the African civilizations begin to decline. They became weaker and weaker over time. It's just the natural things. But when now these other forces were coming in to invade, they got a hold of this knowledge. And so obviously at first they had to learn. They had to be taught. So they killed some of the shamans and the teachers, and then they kept some in order for them to teach them. But now when they started rewriting history, in order to control people mentally and spiritually, they had to personify, they actually had to make these beings physical. So they had to make the war between God and Satan a physical being and change it from what the ancients were talking about, because the ancients weren't talking about Satan as this external thing that whispers in your ear for you to go cheat or for you to do something bad. You the one that has the lust. You the one that makes the bad decisions. You the one that lies. You the one that has the potential to kill. You the one that has the envy. You the one that has the jealousy, the envy, the greed. It's you. It's not some being out. It's you. So those aspects of yourself, those dark aspects of yourself, those were known as Set. Now, they later changed the word or the deity Set. Later on, Set became Sut-an. That later on became now Satan. And then it also now later became what you know of as the Titans. So Set came Sut-an, it became Satan, it became the Titans. When they speak about the clash of the Titans that were in Greek mythology. In this book here, they speak about all these different mythological stories, So this is the Encyclopedia of World Mythology. So basically, all world mythology is based on. Here's what I want to show you actually. So there is an aspect of self that is called the hero. You see, so the hero, Lucifer was the first hero. The hero, Lucifer saved you from perfection, from the garden, because when all you know is just this good, you don't know that there is another side. So he's that being that rebelled against this and said, there's this other side. So Lucifer saved you from the perfect state, from God. He was the first hero. Jesus then becomes the one who saves you from Satan. So Lucifer saved you from God. Jesus saves you from Satan. And these are the two aspects of the same thing. So Lucifer is light, spiritual higher spiritual light in its descending form to come to experience a whole different opposite side. And then now the Christ becomes the Redeemer, which becomes the inverted, or who is Lucifer reversed, because both of them are called the morning star. In Isaiah, they call Lucifer the bright morning star, which is also, again, the Venus, but then we'll talk about that another time. And then in the book of Revelations, they call Jesus the morning star. So both of them are the morning star because they are the light bearer, or they are the light bringers. We brought light into this aspect of God that was unknown and is unknown to certain angels. This is why they also speak about how now the angels envy humanity. There's a story, there are many stories where they speak about how there was a war in heaven and the angels rebelled, like, oh God, look at us, we are so high and mighty, but why do you love humans so much? Like, what is it about them? People, like, what is it about those beings made out of dust and all these lower materials? Why is it that they are so special in your eyes? And that is because we are that aspect of God, or we are the ones that came to experience. We know God closer, or we are much closer. Even though we are the furthest, we are the closest to God because we fell to the lowest of lowest. So we know the dark side, we know the womb, we know both yin and yang, whereas they only know this pristine light and all this beauty and all this. But we came to experience when we know suffering, we know pain, we know hunger, we know lack, we know these things. Whereas on that side, you could know them only conceptually, but until you had experienced it, it's not the same. So now, because you came and experienced them physically, which was the task of Lucifer, he brought you down here for you to experience it. And that's why also the snake in the garden was like, surely if you eat of this tree, you will not die, but you will be like God, because you will know the knowledge of the gods, which is good and evil. So now, when you know two sides, you have the ability to do this. There's you can do this, whereas on that other side, you only knew the light, you only knew the good. So it's like you in heaven, but it's still ignorance, because it's like you are blissfully ignorant. You are a slave to the perfect light, and there's no room for growth of the soul, and the acceleration of the spirit can only happen in the lower dimensions, which is where now Lucifer and the fall of man came into, the Nephilim, the fall of the giants, the titans. You are the titans, you are the giants, you are the titans, you are all these beings that they speak about, these men of renown, because the fall was gradual. Your pineal gland, when in our earlier state of our human form, was still highly functioning, right? So even though we were material, we weren't completely corporeal. The descending into ultra matter happened gradually through the cycles, through spiritual cosmology, as our solar system moved into different parts of galaxies, or of the galaxy. As we moved away from the center of the galaxy and we started to go into the fringes, we started to move away from the center of the galaxy, which is what they call Unapku, because the center of the galaxy emits a certain light, and each star or each system has a light. So we are under the physical sun. This emits to us a physical light that gives us, it gives fruits, nourishment, and trees, and it's good for the skin. So it's the physical sun. But then the ancients also spoke about Sirius. Sirius B is a star that dealt with the spiritual aspect of ourselves. So this falling into matter was a gradual thing that happened, and that was through the first angel, or the brightest angel, the coolest angel, which was Lucifer, who was like, guys, there's another thing, there's another experience, Pela. And so we came into physicality. In the physical, you content now, you become wrapped in a body where your adversary is Satan. Satan is the dark side. It's the body, because it wraps you in this shell. Your cells contain within them atomic light. So your cells, cell, those are literally a cell where you keep someone in jail, because within the cell is trapped light. So your divine light is temporarily trapped within these cells, which is also metaphysical or metaphoric for you being in hell. This whole thing is a shell that is trapping you here for a specific amount of time as you are alchemizing, as you are gaining new perspective, because here you are gaining depth, height, width. You're learning all of these things. You are in close proximity with the elements, taste, touch, sight, sound, and smell. You are in close proximity. The head was always symbolic of heaven. Head is Heavenna, it's the head. And the hell was always symbolic of your feet. So your feet, that would be symbolic of hell. So heaven would be the highest state. Hell would be the part that is in contact with earth, which represents the dirt. That's all it means. Satan is a mentor. It's the dark side of the creator. And that's when now Jesus comes to save you from that. So Lucifer saves you from God. Jesus saves you from Satan. Two aspects of the same thing. And both God and Satan are you. In different parts of itself. In different aspects of itself. When you are in good vibes, good vibratory states, good frequencies, good vibrations, good thoughts, you are in heaven. You are in the higher chakras. When you start, mingling with the lower, you are in hell. You are wrapped up by the adversary, which is Seth, which is the dark side. And now get this. In the conscious community, you hear a lot of people speaking about, oh, I'm a light worker. I'm a light worker. I'm a light worker. Here's the light. Yeah, that's good and all, but you're not really a light worker until you acknowledge the dark side. If you don't acknowledge your dark side, you're not a light worker. Then you're just trying to be like, oh, I'm all good. No. Stop it. You need to acknowledge the dark side. But the dark side is not something in which you stay in. The dark side is merely just an alchemical formula for you to now really, really understand the true light that you are, because you are light anyway. You are the light that descended into captivity, into exile. You became wrapped in a shell, and then that caused a spiritual amnesia. It created a veil between the real you, and you became trapped in this false reality, this holographic, false-like reality, which is nothing but a cheap imitation of the original worlds. So Satan is soot. It's the darkness. When you take, if right now I were to take, if right now I were to take light, right, and I strike this match, and I burn it here on this white wall, you'd see that black, that black remain. That is called soot. Soot means black. That's what black means. That's the darkness. Soot on. So you are nothing but the burnt out remains of the descending. So as you are falling like a star, as you are falling as the morning star, you are falling into darkness, and you became wrapped and cloaked in the shell. Soot, Satan, set. When you say the sun is setting, the setting means that the sun is going into the underworld. That's Jesus going to conquer darkness, going to conquer death. It's also when you watch The Lion King, where Mufasa and Simba are chilling, and then Simba says to his dad, "What's that place over there?" And then Mufasa said to him, "The place where the sun doesn't touch where the sun doesn't shine. We don't go to that place because that's where Set is. That's where Soot is. But then Simba had to go there. And he did go there because there's that curious aspect. And that curious aspect is what is the Lucifer in him. Is the rebellion. Mufasa would be God. Yo, bro, look, this is beautiful. Look, oh, Pride Rock. Everything you hear. But even as he's telling him, he's like, that place there. But being a father, he knows, Uguti, this one, he's gonna go. That part of Simba, that curious part to say, okay, I get all this light, but what's that? That was Lucifer. That is how we came here. It was the curiosity. That's why it's called Pandora's box. We opened Pandora's box, which is another mythological story. So you say, there's all these things, there's all these gifts and blessings, but then there's certain curses. It's a gift with the curse. Because yes, you come into physicality and you have all this free will. You can drink, you can sex, you can just do anything. But the cost is that you forget. The forgetting is the curse. But then at the same time, the forgetting is the course. It's a journey. Just like when you go to university and you have a course is a journey. You're gonna go on this journey, the hero's journey, the journey into self, the journey into a mentor, the journey into the deepest parts of yourself, the journey into matter. Matter represents the aspect of God. Remember, the universe is nothing but a reflection of us, and we are a reflection of it, right? So if there's an aspect of God that is all-knowing and all-knowing in its nature, then there has to be a side of God which is all ignorant or all ignorance, and that's where we are in right now. We are bringing light to the ignorant version or to the ignorant side of God, which we represent. Because when you are ignorant, you do things that you're not conscious, just like when you're drunk or when you're just spiritually not in tune. You are in ignorance. So all of that ignorance is the adversary. That's Satan, that's Soot. That's the darkness. That's when you are encased in darkness. And when you acknowledge that dark side, when you acknowledge that darkness and you begin to see your bad behaviors, I'm an angry person, I'm a jealous person. That's when you begin to fight with Satan. That's when you begin to now wrestle, just like the story I did about Jacob wrestling in esoteric Bible studies. Jacob wrestling with the man or the angel all night, where they say it was dark when he was wrestling with the man. And when daybreak came, which means when the sun was rising, that's when now he became victorious, and then his name changed. So we wrestle with ourselves in darkness. We are we are our greatest adversary. We are Satan. We are the beast that they speak about in the book of Revelation. They say, behold, the number of the beast, it's a man. And that number is 666, which is nothing but the 666 is nothing but carbon. That's nothing but carbon. 6 protons, 6 electrons, and 6 neutrons. That's carbon. Carbon is black. It's the darkness. So you are the carbon-based being that you must alchemize. So when you do fall, when you do leave the Garden of Eden, you leave and you experience all of this thing. But then now there's that aspect of you that calls you back home to say, oh, okay, I've seen this side. Damn, and I know it experientially now. And then there's the call to the light side. That's where Jesus comes in. That's what that aspect represents. He's the reminder, he's the redeemer, he's the Messiah. That's the aspect of you. So Jesus is nothing but Horus. That's light. It's nothing but Krishna. It's nothing but all these beings that you read in these different mythological stories. It's the hero going through a cycle. The hero goes through a cycle where there is a call to adventure. He takes the journey and then he descends, he meets guides, he meets certain things. And then when he gets to the lowest part, that's when he's deep in the underworld. There's adversaries there and whatnot. And then if he overcomes, he begins his journey back up. And then there he would have had the princess, he would have fought the dragon. You see this in all these movies where Shrek leaves his swamp. Shrek was comfortable in his swamp, and then all of a sudden now he has to go leave and things are disturbing his peace. That's the call to adventure. But in him leaving the swamp, he went to go find Fiona. And to find Fiona, he had to wrestle the dragon. The wrestling with the dragon is nothing but the Ilozi, the Kundalini fire. It's nothing but the serpent within. It's nothing but the wrestling with self. If you watch the movie Coming to America by Eddie Murphy is in this perfect nice place. He's the king. They wash him. Everything they do for him, it's perfect. It's all. They're even gonna choose a wife for him. They're washing him. All that. There's a scene where like the royal penis is clean, Your Majesty. Everything they do for him. But what? He was not happy. He's like, nah, man, I'm leaving. He left to America. He's the prodigal son. He left to America to go find Lisa, that Han. So as he's in America, that's his princess. So he's this rich guy, gold, everything. It's you in heaven. It's all nice. Yeah. And then he leaves. And then when he leaves, the place that he goes to, he lives in the slums. They steal his shit. They steal all his things. He has to mop, So he sees a different side to life. But from that, what happens? Boom, Lisa. He falls in love. It's the same thing. It's the same story over and over and over again. All these stories are saying the same thing. It's you. You are these beings. You are this being, this ultimate being, which is also at the same time ultimately nothing. How? I told you today we're gonna get into it. So God would be the light side of the yin and yang. The light, the positive, the good, the warm. The dark side, Satan, would be the cold, the darkness. But they are two sides of the same thing. In order for life to happen, both have to be there. You need both the positive and the negative aspects. These two work hand in hand. So that's why you always see red against blue. That's nothing but a primordial thing of energy and forces of how the universe functions. It's always been two aspects, even though androgynous, that androgyny is from the fact that there's two in it anyway. You could be a man, but inside of you, you have feminine aspects. And if you're a woman, inside of you have masculine aspects. This is happening. This has been happening. So, Lucifer is called the light bringer because he brought the light into this aspect that was not known or that was not experienced. And the reason why they say that humans or mankind, even though we are in our lowest state and angels are eons ahead of us in intellect and in all of that, the reason why we will surpass them is because we got to experience, we got to taste death, we got to taste and walk hand in hand, we got to go into a mentor, we got to see the dark side of God, we got to see a different aspect, we got to experience. We got to know why heaven is so nice because we walked through hell. So we are in hell now. And so when you leave this place, you're supposed to leave with the knowledge of the fact that you are both Lucifer and Jesus in two different ascending missions or journeys. In your fall, you were redeeming yourself from, everything is done for me, I'm this. It's gonna get boring because you are an eternal being. You want to experience. And so that was the first rebellion of the angels. Because I've always asked, bro, I'm like, there's no way, bro, that Lucifer being the smartest, and now that's how dope it is for me in my mind when I think about it. I'm like, damn, bro, this guy is cool, bro. That's so cool. Because when I imagine the conversation between God and Lucifer, I could just see Lucifer going to God and be like, yo, Joe, I wanna leave, bro. What? And then God just like, and then like if God being happy, like, yes, finally someone who has that thing to experience that other side. I didn't want to force it on them. I wanted to be their own thing, to say, I want to go there. And I can imagine the conversation like between the two, like, damn, bro, you know what's gonna happen, right? It's like, I know I'm gonna be the enemy for all time. I'm gonna be the one. I'm gonna be labeled as the bad one. But then it's like, then the conversation was like, but as long as you know, man, as long as you know, it's like, nah, bro, do it. It's an aspect of the Creator. And then the journey began. The coming into matter. And the coming into matter, it wasn't always Uguti, it was bad from the jump. This is it's like a game. It's like we were going to play. You know, like when they let you out, like hambani yodlala, go play outside. That's what it was. It's like, we can go out and play. That's what the material existence is. It's like, we're gonna go play that game. We're gonna play the game of life, the game of opposites. You know, can you imagine heaven in no time and no space? And then we're like, yo, let's go play that game of time and space and up and down and cold, where we have taste and you know, where we are not all these powerful things. That becomes like a thrill to souls. It becomes like, you know, but when you go outside, there's a possibility that, hey, don't get hurt. You might get hurt. You know, they tell you, hey, and then you go as a kid, you'll hurt your knee, you'll cry. That's what's happening here. But it's a thrill. It's a thrill. It's like when time comes, come home. When the sun is setting, come home. Come home when the sun is setting. So right now, the awakening is us coming home, because we've been playing for too long. We've been out playing this game for too long, to the point where now we have even forgotten. You see, that's how deep, and that's how long. And they call these the days and the nights of Brahma, where they say that for a certain amount of time, God inhales. And in that inhalation, God pulls everything into itself. They call that the night of Brahma, where God inhales and takes everything back. And then that happens for a period of trillions of years, where God pulls back everything to itself, right? And then there's something called the day of Brahma. So that's the exhalation of God, where God exhales and create, and then in the exhalation, that's where the game seems to be outside, where we have this type of separate like existence from God, like knowing that we are God, but not it at the same time. That's the day. That's the external. And then after that, God inhales again. But just before the inhalation, we reach a point of ultimate forgetting that we are even one with it, where we feel that it's something, and it's something that's totally different from us, but we are it all at the same time. It's oh man, it's deep like that. It's deep like that. So the church has said, oh, Satan is this thing that's outside of you, that's whispering, spank that girl. Ooh, girl, steal that. They've made it this outside thing, and because you think of it as this outside thing that's so great and much more superior to you, you're like, I can't contend with the devil. He's too powerful. You don't see that the devil is right there with you. Remember, they said that the devil is a liar. You are a liar. You're such a liar that you've told yourself that you are not the liar, that it's something else. That's how schizophrenic you are. Like, no. It's something else that I don't see. That's somewhere that has horns somewhere, and that thing is making me do all these bad things, and I must pray so that it doesn't affect me. No, you are it. You are the one that becomes jealous. You are the one that has those feelings. You are the one that decides to help that stranger. You are the one that decides to do good. You are the one that decides. It's you. It's two aspects of the same being. It's two poles. It's yin and yang. It's yin and yang. So God, Satan, Lucifer, Jesus, same being, same entity, same force in different poles of itself. Just as you have water you can have water in gas, liquid, and solid. Same thing. It's the same thing. In your spiritual body, you are in the higher world. In your most densest material body, you are in the lower worlds, which are also known as hell. Or they say being born is called being born with a veil. So there's a veil that covers you. So there's a rite of life is also a rite of passage into worlds higher than where you were before you came into the journey. Because remember, who you were before the descent, before the rebellion, is not going to be who you were after, because now you would have had this experience. So you become forever transformed. So you become alchemized. So you're not the same thing. So they say when you are born into this veil, into this world, the veil of tears or the veil of Isis, they say that you are in the upside down world. When in what's that thing? Stranger Things, when we speak about the upside down world, this is this. Also, if you watch Us, those beings underground, those zombies, and then above there's a different version. So here, this is the upside down world. And then when you die, it's a rite of passage, and then you are initiated, and then it's said that now Anubis takes you, and then you are turned right side up. So you becoming you come into your right mind. So right now you are in the upside down world, and then death is nothing but an initiation into you being turned right side up. That's how deep it is. That's what this whole thing is. And so now a spiritual awakening and you now beginning to resonate with such information is nothing but you beginning to identify with the aspect of the light, which is ascending, which is the Christ energy, which is the oil. So Christ means oil, it means Christos, it means anointed one. So you become anointed in the head by your pineal gland, your pituitary, and your hypothalamus beginning to release certain hormones. The land of milk and honey. Your pineal gland releases this gold-like chemical. The pituitary releases this white light, and that's called the milk and honey, because then it raises the spiritual vibration of your whole body, and your cells begin to explode, and the light accelerates. And then you break out of this shell. And then when you die with your memory intact. Because most people, when they leave Earth, the memory, because of the lack of light, the light which is cultivated from knowledge, from seeking knowledge, from doing certain things, they don't have enough light to sustain them so that they can shoot for the higher realms. So they end up in the lower astral planes of purgatory. You know, they don't get to experience certain ancestral planes. So then they're forced into a reincarnation. For many lifetimes, they keep reincarnating until you cultivate the light that got trapped as you came here. Because you lost certain things about yourself by locking them away in the deepest parts of you. And for you to get the ticket back home, you need to remember those things about yourself. And so that's what awakening is. It's remembering your multidimensionality. It's remembering your aura. It's remembering how to manipulate light, and remembering that you exist outside of time and space. It's all of this coming together. And now when you begin to speak about this at church, now they're going to tell you, oh no, this is devil work. No, this is because church just wants you to be comfortable, say no, some other dude called Jesus outside is going to come save me from another dude who's trying to take me to another place called Lucifer. He's trying to take me to Satan, and then Jesus is gonna come and take me to God. No, man, it's you. You must save you from the darkness, from your consciousness, which has gone beyond the horizon. So your eye, your spiritual eye, is the eye of Horus. But right now you are seeing with just these two eyes that see into the illusionary world. So you've become too comfortable into this dream-like state. You've been playing for so long that you've forgotten where home is. And so with spiritual people and shaman and mystics and all these people that are on this journey to awaken themselves, and thus then in the process awaken you, they're nothing but your brothers and sisters saying, hey, let's go home. We've been here for too long. Yo, remember? And then you're there, you're like, home. Because you've been playing for so long. You went on this long journey that now the call to the Creator is calling you back. And so God now sends messengers and messiahs and prophets and teachers and healers to heal your soul. Because the further you go from home, it's nice in the beginning, but the longer it takes, there's karmic things that happen on the journey. So you repeat certain worlds, there's certain things that now begin. There's karmic debts that have to be paid. There's soul contracts that you made. So all of these things now are things that you must work on your way back. This is called shadow work. When you cut certain strings and certain attachment, you're born into certain families to heal certain things that connected you to those people in a past life, whether it's a good or bad thing. There's certain people that you meet so that you can walk together, and there's certain people that you meet so that you heal things that they have done to you in a past life, or something that you have done to them that had to be corrected before you zip back home. There's certain things that you have to unburden your soul from coming into the world of duality. The experience, You are this being. We are this being. Doing it, playing this nice, but also twisted, but also amazing, but also brilliant, all at the same time. All at the same time, family. This is what's happening. So you are the Sut, the Satan, the Titan, the Sutek, tied to a rock. Prometheus, they say there's another mythological, but they speak about Prometheus who stole fire from the gods and gave it to man. That's consciousness, that's light. So this is what's happening here, fam. It's nothing but a story about you. Yeah. I think for now, this is some good enough. I think it's good enough for you to chew now. That God, Satan, Lucifer, Jesus, same forces, different aspects. But for you to really be this light being that you are, you have to know about this dark side. You are the dark side. But the dark side, light comes from darkness. So you came to see what it is that birthed you. What it is that you are. And that's why now the angels this, damn, these ones. But it's all for one grand plan, one grand trip, one grand master plan, because they represent a certain aspect of us and we represent a certain aspect of them, and this is all just merging things. So the story is it's planetary, it's cosmic, it's universal, it's multi-dimensional, it's multi-universal. It's deep like that. It's deeper than just you going to church on Sunday and waiting for someone to save you on a white horse. Nah, that's Sunday school mentality. And that's what the church has put that to keep you comfortable. Go to church Sunday, the rest of the week, go to work. Don't steal at work. Be good. Your boss, be good to your employees. And then you now you caught up in this robotic cycle. You know, be a good mom, be a good dad. You know, go to a wedding there, go to a party there, blah, 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 blah. Retire. Yeah, good. Leave a will for your kids. Oh, I'm gonna go to heaven. I lived a good life. No! 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 And don't get me wrong, it's not everyone who's gonna dive this deep into the knowledge. And it's not everyone who should. It's not everyone who should. But because you are doing it, you pass that light on to the people. So not all of us have to go deep into the knowledge and read all these books. No, there's just basic things that you must know. There's just basic things that you must know. And the most important thing is love. Love for yourself and love for others. Because love is a vibration that it's the ultimate vibration. Love, that frequency of love. It replaces knowledge, it replaces information. If you love, you are close to that being. You are close to that being, and all the pieces will begin to piece themselves inside of you automatically, because all of this are things that are not outside. They are not in books, man. Before books, we wrote books. The book is not something that's outside, that, you know, someone sat down and was spiritually inspired to be like, oh, let me write this divine book. Oh, let me write this. So all things come from inside, then they go outside. So we came from the inner worlds. The outer worlds are what we came into. The inner worlds are the heavens. That's the inhalation of God. You experience it when you sleep. That's home. That's why we love sleep. That's the inner worlds. And then this represents where Lucifer came to. So in summary, the inner worlds are those heavenly states, those that light. But then the beings, the entities, there was an aspect that was like, that first did this and was like, yeah, I saw something. It's like, well, what is that? And then eventually the eyes began to open, and then Lucifer was like, yo, God, I saw something, I want to go experience it. It's like, damn, bro, you want to open your eye? It's like, yeah. And then boom. And so now what we're experiencing is the outside. The outside, this, blah, tasting. So we could summarize it in a day for you. When you wake up in the morning, it's you leaving heaven. You go, you experience the world. You wake up in the morning, you're fresh. What happens throughout the day? You get tired, right? At 12, you have to eat. At this time, you get tired. At this time, all these things begin to happen. You get tired. Certain things happen. You get stressed. That's life. That's the journey of the soul. And then at night, we could say the night is the summary of it all, where you're like, yo, woo, boom. That would be symbolic of death. You going back into the inner. So all of that, I can summarize it for you in a day. When you wake up in the morning, that's the fall. You come into the outside, into the shell, where you have to deal with this heavy vessel. Eat, you're hungry, all these things. And then at night, you're like, that's the call to the one, to the rejuvenation. You go into a different dimension. So this is what's happening on a personal, on a collective, on a universal level. So family, peace, love and light to you all. Thank you, man, for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you found it helpful. And yeah, if you wanna If you wanna show support to me and to the channel, you could just hit me up. I'm gonna leave my PayPal in the description. my bank account for those who are in South Africa, because I know I got some people who are in Australia, in America, so they can't do the financial things using what we use here. But I think PayPal is a universal thing. So yeah, family, thank you. If you've subscribed, thank you so much. Thank you for walking this journey. Thank you for doing this, because as you do this, as you become conscious, and your sister, your brother, all of us, as we become conscious, we begin to change the collective. So we begin to heal the collective. We've heard each other on this journey. We've in the ignorance, in being wrapped up with the adversary, which is us. So now we're healing, and we're remembering who we are. So yeah, family,